Hello, everybody. Welcome to Nintendo Pow Block here on Boss Rush Games. I'm your host, the light and excited ADV. Joining me is the devastating dungeoneer, Mr. David Daxby.
Hello, everybody.
The indie insider himself, Mr. Dan Murphy.
Hello from Ohio.
Yes. Boss man himself, Mr. Corey Derrick.
Also, hello from Ohio.
And our special guest coming in, the block hater himself. You know, I still call him one of my elite block agents. The PC muscle racer himself, the gunner hunter, Mr. LeRon Dawkins, host of Crossroads here on Boss Rush Games and on Exodus 803.
What's poppin'?
Hello, everybody. Welcome. We are back in the building. We are going to be talking about Monster Hunter Stories 2 because the game has just dropped, and I think we all have a love for it. So we're going to be discussing that in our dark mode. But before we get into that, how was everybody's weekend? Corey, how was your weekend?
It was fine. We threw a birthday party for my daughter. She's turning 3 on Tuesday, so we decided to throw the party the weekend before, and it was fun. It was a good time. She got
cool.
a lot of toys, and now my house feels like a Toys R Us threw up in my living room. So it's fine though. R.I.P. Toys R Us.
R.I.P. Dan, how was your weekend?
My weekend was all right. It was kind of just full of busy work. We got patio furniture, so we put that together. My dog got sick, so we had to bring him to the vet. Now he's wearing a cone.
The cone of shame.
The cone of shame. Cleaning out the garage. It was just home stuff all weekend. So nothing great, but it was fine.
David, how was your weekend?
Like Dan, mine was pretty busy, but my son is on a week-long trip visiting extended family, so now there's a lot less attitude and volume around my house, and it's been pretty great. I've been enjoying the quiet and soaking it in. He's 15, so you can kind of imagine the difference there. So I've been using the TV without any competition, and it's been great. I've been living it up.
Oh, all right. LeRon, how about you? How was your weekend?
My weekend was pretty good. It was kind of low key, but also exhausting at the same time. I made the wonderful mistake of hitting like a super hard workout Sunday morning, and then my Facebook notifications reminded me that I had a birthday party to go to at 1:00. So yeah. So
one of the few things Facebook's good for.
Yeah. So basically, it was like the party didn't stop until I got home that night.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was a rough day. Like I was so tired that I did not even get to play like the spotlight game that we're talking about tonight. Not last night.
Well, for me, I got to meet up with my friend that I haven't got to see for 2 years due to COVID and some other things. Because he ended up moving to Wisconsin. And got another job, and he just had been busy and everything. But Saturday we actually went to another city that I'm close by, and we got to go to a dog event where we seen a whole bunch of dogs, and they were like doing the adoptions. The police was out there explaining what they do with their dogs on how they stop criminals and things like that. And then they had
Did you adopt?
I do. I wish I could. I didn't get to adopt any because I really wanted a German Shepherd. I know they are a messy kind of dog, but something about them just makes me like, please come into my hands. I did get to pet some. That was really cool. We got to see like the dogs, they're running and they're jumping in the air, letting in the pool. So they're like trying to get their height on how far they jumped and everything. And there was a dog named Brody from Cedar Rapids, not the Brody from Dignity Podcast, but shout out to him. And he did 23.4 feet or inches in the air. Like he flew. And I was just like, wow. But it was like really, really good and everything. So I kind of had that experience Saturday. But yeah, that was my weekend, and of course, getting Monster Hunter. That I think I told you, LeRon, or I told you, Dan, that they shipped me my game. I got it on Friday, but did it for in-store pickup, but they actually shipped it. So when I got home from Best Buy, like 5 minutes later, UPS pulled up and gave me my game. So I'm like, oh, here. Didn't expect it because they did that with my Scarlet Nexus too. I'm like, but they dropped my Scarlet Nexus like at 9 p.m. 2 weeks, a week after the game came out. I'm like, wow. So don't know what's going on with Best Buy, but yeah. Please don't do that with my Skyward Sword Friday because I need it at I needed it at 10 a.m.
Wait. So when exactly did delivery get to you?
It got to me that Friday at about 10:40.
Okay, because I used to work for UPS, and if I'm not mistaken, like same day delivery, like typically like for in that fashion is usually there before 11.
Yeah, but when I ordered it, after I asked you like should I get physical or digital, when I ordered it, I did in-store pickup.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I got that, but
Yeah,
the fact that they shipped it to you and they actually got it to you before noon, that's very impressive.
Yeah, I did. Like I told you, I didn't know they switched it. They switched it to shipping to me that day that I was supposed to go and get it that Friday.
They probably looked and saw who the order was for. It's like, nah, we don't want him up in our store. We'll just drop it off at his
they welcome me because I have my. They know the money that I give them. Just like, yes, come back in and get some more games. Yes, they know I don't play at all.
Like, hasn't this guy bought everything in the store already?
I feel like when you go to a Best Buy just nearby Ed, like like every game on the Nintendo Switch aisle is just gone. Like you can't find anything. Like even if it's a game he already has, he'll just buy an extra 6 copies just for no reason.
I mean, I do that for PlayStation and Xbox. So
yeah, he buys every game for every console, even if he doubles up all the time.
Yes. Well, before we get into Snacktendo, got a quick plug, and actually got to do the housekeeping first. So let's get into the housekeeping. This is episode 253 of the Nintendo Pow Block podcast. Each and every week we come together to talk about games and everything we love about them with our friends. You can join us live on Monday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time on twitch.tv/BossRushGames Live and be a part of the conversation. But if you can't join us live, no big deal. You can head over to youtube.com/BossRushGames and BossRushGames.com to watch the show or listen on your podcast service of choice. Remember to subscribe, follow, rate, and review wherever you consume us. It helps us out with discoverability, and check out our family of shows wherever you listen to your podcast. Come join the Boss Rush Network Discord. We have a ton of communities there that talk about games, entertainment, snacks, and more. And just a quick plug for everybody. On Saturday, July 17th at 6:15 p.m. Pacific Time, Grayson Morales of Game Red will be on a PAX West panel with Brendan Groom from Pastor Controller, Lily Zaldivar, 61 Indie, Cameron Hawkins, featuring IGN, Alana Pierce, Santa Monica Games, and Tim Geddes from Kinda Funny. Together, the 6 of them will come up with a list of the top 10 Nintendo games of all time. The games will range from the NES all the way to the Nintendo Switch. It's going to be a really fun show, so make sure to tune in. I wanted to plug that because Grayson is a great contributor to the Brushfish family and on Power Block. So I just wanted to shout him out because he has some great things going on Saturday. And everybody, I will be on Video Games Live or the Video Games Summit doing a quiz show with another Zelda podcast. I'll give more information out throughout the week for that. But it's time for Snacktendo.
Hey, hang on a second, because hopefully Grayson's listening tonight. Like Grayson, I love you, man, but if I would seriously knock you upside the head and steal your press pass and everything just to hang out with Tim Geddes.
Oh, those are Monster Hunter words, I guess. I don't know. So everybody, once again, it's Snacktendo. Corey, what have you been snacking
on? Just birthday party food, like cake and ice cream, pretty much. Chocolate cake. It's a standard affair with some really delightful icing, where to the point where my kid would just lick the icing off the cake and then just ask for more icing. That's where we were this weekend. So
I'm assuming buttercream.
yeah, it was. I gotta say, it was good.
But does she not? What do you? Are you guys like? I don't know. Like, I was gonna say like Nazis, but I should say like sticklers on sugar content with your children.
I mean, not really. She just doesn't really eat it a lot, you know.
Okay, so it's not one of those situations where every time she sees sugar, she just goes ham.
No, she'd rather.
That's just a kid thing. Any kid that sees sugar goes for it.
Yeah.
She'd rather eat watermelon or yogurt or something than a cookie.
One of the funny things I learned about kids and like childhood development and stuff like that is up until like the age of 8 or 9, like sugar is their number one source of energy. Like it's like they thrive off it. It's batteries, you know. Whereas once we get to a certain age, like, you know, sugar like amps us for a moment and then we crash. Like children, like, you know, they can eat sugar all the time and not be phased by it. Will not be phased by it the same way we are, because like I said, like we'll be like 3 slices of cake in and we're like, man, I'm about to die.
That's what I'm gonna say. I must be still a kid, because they'd be like, "Dang, Eddie, how much sugar did you eat throughout the week?" I'm like,
go to the doctor and get your A1C checked out, buddy.
David, what have you been snacking on?
So we've been making some homemade Indian food this week. So I got it written down. Hopefully I pronounce this right. Aloo gobi matar over turmeric spiced rice with a cumin lime sour cream. That was the latest dish that we made. And
man, that sounds good.
Sliced some like fresh plums on the side to break up the spice, and it was so good.
Nice, good. LeRon, what have you been snacking on?
Snacks is definitely what I brought to the table tonight, because I've been working at a client's office for the past week, and they got these Pop-Tart bites.
Yeah.
And I hear like it's a staple at Costco. I don't have a membership at Costco, so, you know, I'm obviously not living my life right, because man, like they have the variety packs of these. This particular one right here is a strawberry one, and yes, I brought it home. Like I said, like I've been in their office all week.
Eating it.
Yeah, the particular box that they had, the case that they had was frosted strawberry, the blueberry ones, and my personal favorite, the brown sugar cinnamon ones.
Yeah.
Like I had to restrain myself because I knew I was coming on Pow Block tonight, so I at least wanted to show some. It's intact. I haven't opened it yet, but this is the last one.
Brown sugar cinnamon is the best for
Hell
sure.
yes, hell yeah.
We sell the green. There was the brown sugar one and the strawberry one. That's just a box by itself. I didn't know they had a variety pack.
There's this particular Costco, I guess, is like special or something, because all the time I'm hearing about like some off the wall stuff that technically like both Sam's Club and Costco should have, like, you know, but they have opposites of, and it seems like Costco always has like the way out there like premium ones, you know, and apparently, like, you know, at this particular Costco they have this variety pack where you look online and all they have like the basic ones.
Okay. Well, Dan, what have you been snacking on?
So, I'm getting married next June, and one of the funnest things about getting married is testing catering food. So we have gone to like different catering events and stuff, and we went to one last week, and it was like the most amazing thing I've ever had. There was a pizza stand, there was a roast beef stand, there was a chicken with crab meat topped stand. Like, we just like ate like kings and rolled out of there, and they had open bar, so that was fun too. And then so aside from that, there was this little restaurant. I moved to where I live now last July, so it was like pretty peak COVID. And this little bakery was closed down for a bit, and they just opened up again last weekend. And we went there, and I'm telling you, this is the best cannoli I've ever had in my life. I don't like cannolis that much, but man, there was something about this one. It was amazing. I'm probably going to go back every weekend and get one.
Nice. Well, I went shopping today. Got some Adidas stuff. But while I was out, I always go to the Pepperidge Farms outlet mall. So I got some new Irish cream Milanos. Um, really, really good. It just came out. I talked to Jack, Geek Bro, and I showed them, and man, they are really good. They literally taste like Irish cream. So so good. And last but not least, I think Wendy's now has Pringles
Oh.
spicy chicken.
What?
Oh, what?
Yes.
Oh, I saw those at the store the other day.
Yeah. Um,
Crazy.
they're good, but you can't taste the chicken. They're spicy, but you can't really taste the chicken in a sense. But they're
God.
really good. And also, like, if you download the code that's on top of it, I think you're able to go get you a free chicken sandwich, spicy chicken. That's limited time.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Ed, I got to add one thing to my Snacktendo really quick. I forgot. Last week I wasn't on the show because I was out camping. And one of the things that I bought before I went, they're like marshmallow roasters with a cast iron box on the end of it that kind of closes up like a clamshell. So I made on the fire with some pizza dough, like from scratch pizza pockets over the campfire, and it was so good. It was like one of the best things I've tasted in a really long time. Like just baked on the campfire pizza pockets. It was awesome.
Nice.
Awesome.
I actually. Oh, go ahead, Dan.
Oh, I was just going to say, quick shout out to Yamada Zero in the chat saying, speaking of Wendy's, they're finally coming back to the UK after 20 years. And he says the Baconator is coming home.
I actually had a vegan omelet with cheese on top and in a croissant. It's so good.
Where did you have that, Ed?
I had it at a family restaurant up in Wisconsin when I went to go see my
Okay.
friend. I ordered some fries and they gave me some messed up hash browns. Like, I don't know what they did. I was just like, this is a mess. So I'll just do some ketchup on, ate it. But that vegan omelet, oh, I swear. Ooh,
Wait. What was the? It was an omelet. So what was the base product that made it the omelet? I'm curious.
Probably Just Egg. That's like the pretty nationally eaten egg substitute.
Yeah.
Oh, I never heard of it. Okay.
Yeah.
I wonder what it is. I'm gonna have to look it up now.
Check it out. Just Egg.
Just egg.
Just
Yeah.
Egg. If you're listening, you can find me at David Lasby.
And this is officially a Just Egg podcast.
We will happily be sponsored by Just Egg if you want.
I was just like, ooh, if Jesus was on the diet, this would be the meal. Because it was good.
Okay. Not bad. It's only 2 ingredients.
Yeah.
What
I'm
is
not
it?
gonna. I'm not gonna say it because I'm not gonna say it live on the podcast.
Everybody
like, we
just
can,
zoom into LeRon's screen real
like
quick.
that-
and
like
tell me.
after
That's the paid content.
exactly. Yeah, no, because I guarantee you if I say what the actual protein source is, it will turn a lot of people off. But I live with
that
Asian
sounds
people,
like
so
that doesn't sound great.
but I live with
That
Asian
sounds like it
people,
comes
so
out of a part of a body that nobody wants to have a part of.
All right, we should move on before we lose our sponsorship. So.
Yeah. Mm.
Well, quick shout out to is it Seamus or Samus? Because the gamer
Seamus.
Seamus. He posted Brad's Bucks County, USA Crunchy Kale Vampire Killer. That looks really good. Auditor 415 Real Hawaiian Shaved Ice. And he has some fresh honeycomb, which looks amazing. Shout out to Shane Kelly from another Zelda podcast and a writer for Boss Rush Games. He's part of the Boss Rush writing team. And he just sent out a plate of meats, crackers, and cheese. He got it all set up and definitely had a grilling outside for the Boss Rush podcast. So shout out to you, Shay.
For you fancy people out there, it's a charcuterie board. For you fancy people out there, you know.
Mm.
You know, I typically I don't do the wine. I usually do a cider.
Well, he just only did the pen, and had no drinks with it. That I know. Shout out to Stephanie with some barbecue sauce that she is having with her brisket. Looks really, really good. And then Blum's Coffee Crumb Cake. So shout out to all you guys. Continue to send out your snacks pics on our Discord for Snacktendo. And hit us up on Twitter at Pow Block Podcast with your snacks. Yes. So we're going to get into Game Fact Affairs. David, take it away.
All right. Thanks, Ed. So as we prepare for the Switch OLED, I thought it would be fun to think back to a simpler time when a screen upgrade meant big changes to the gaming experience. So the Game Boy Color is a handheld game console manufactured by Nintendo, which was released in Japan on October 21st, 1998, and to international markets that November. It's successor to the original Game Boy and is part of the Game Boy family. The Game Boy Color features a color screen rather than a monochrome, but it is not backlit. It was slightly thicker and taller and features a slightly smaller screen than the Game Boy Pocket, its immediate predecessor in the Game Boy line. As with the original Game Boy, it has a custom 8-bit processor made by Sharp that is considered a hybrid between the Intel 8080 and the Zilog Z80. Development for the Game Boy Color began in 1996 when Nintendo received requests from game developers for a more sophisticated handheld platform, who said that even the latest iteration of the original system, the Game Boy Pocket, had insufficient hardware. Nintendo developed the console concurrently with its successor, the Game Boy Advance, which was codenamed Atlantis at the time. The resultant product was backward compatible with existing Game Boy software and a first for handheld systems, allowing each new Game Boy family launch to begin with a significantly larger game library than its competitors. And this connects to one of my all-time favorite additions and modifications to a game. The Color Dungeon is a dungeon in Link's Awakening DX. It was initially added to Link's Awakening DX to showcase the use of the Game Boy Color screen to enhance gameplay. Finishing the dungeon, which had numerous color-based puzzles, granted players the choice between powered-up armor and powered-up sword attacks. So I just thought that was kind of interesting because it actually relates in some ways to what Nintendo's doing with the OLED Switch. This idea that it's just an additional feature while still being backward compatible. That's something that Nintendo, famously did with all its DS systems, but really actually went back to the early Game Boy experience. And it does make me wonder a little bit if they will do any programming perks with games designed for the OLED Switch, just like they did for Link's Awakening DX. So anyway, what do you guys think of that?
Well, first I gotta give a shout out to LeRon, because last week on Crossroads he mentioned Gunpei Yokoi, who is the creator of the Game Boy. So shout out to you, LeRon, for that. I really think this is so cool to learn. That's just facts that I didn't even think about when it comes to the Game Boy, because my thing was like when I got my Game Boy Color, it was in the clear purple, and I was just happy to have that and see that it's just see it. But that's an interesting fact. I love that. That's cool.
And I didn't realize that it was actually developed concurrently with the Game Boy Advance, which is sort of interesting to me.
Exactly, because I think it was about 2 years later that it came out, Game Boy Advance. I think.
I
don't
think it
remember
was
the release
3.
date.
I think it was 3.
3.
Yeah.
Wait. The Game Boy Color. I feel like the Game Boy Color was old as dirt by the time the Game Boy Advance came out.
No.
Yeah, I thought so too.
It just felt old because it was still an 8-bit console.
Huh.
Yeah.
Because I remember getting a Game Boy Color and never getting a Game Boy Advance. I don't know why I would choose the Color over the Advance. I was also 7.
I remember getting my Game Boy Color, and probably a month after I got it, I was over at my grandma's house and my cousin got in the car and she was really mad and she slammed some magazine rack down on it, and there's a scratch on the front of the screen. Made me really upset. I was really upset.
Yeah, I think me and you, Corey, we had the Super Game Boy for the Super Nintendo before the Game Boy event.
Oh, I
Game Boy
love
Color.
that.
Yeah,
I don't
so
have
great.
a Super Game Boy.
I thought you had one. Or was it just the Game Boy Advance for the GameCube?
I had the Game Boy player for the GameCube.
Okay.
So
I know we're not. This isn't really like a discussion segment, but I was just curious. Do you think it's possible to do any sort of extra features with games for the OLED Switch in the way that Link's Awakening did with the Color Dungeon, or is that really a relic of the past?
I think it's really just a relic, just because like that, just the addition of color really changes. It changes so much, right? I mean, you look at Link of the Past on Game Boy, and then you look at it on Game Boy Color. It's just like it looks like a brand new game.
Yeah.
You know? Mm-hmm. As someone
who
owns both versions of that game.
Yeah, like basically OLED is just more color density and vibrancy on the screen. So I mean the if it works the way it's supposed to, like every Nintendo Switch game, even whether it's old or new, they're just gonna pop because it's gonna be so vibrant, on the screen and stuff. And like when the screen gets black, it's going to get dark. Like it's gonna look like you're looking into the void when screens fade to black and stuff. When the scenes fade to black and all that stuff. So yeah, I mean, for what it's worth. Wait, we're gonna have an actual.
We are.
discussion.
Yeah,
I was gonna say that's a good segue into our next discussion.
Yeah.
So everybody, I'm so ready for the segment right now. It's time for Femi News. Yes, David, once again, take it away.
All right. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to bleed right into our next segment there. I just I find that whole era in gaming so fascinating. So, from the past to the present here, Nintendo announces Switch OLED model. So this here is from Mad Pharmacist 10112 or our own Stephanie at BossRushGames.com. Quote, as the dust settles from E3 and in typical Nintendo fashion, a major announcement dropped on Nintendo of America's Twitter account. A brand new OLED model for the Switch will be released in October. The 237-minute trailer features a sleek black and white Nintendo Switch and people playing highly anticipated games such as Metroid Dread, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild sequel, and much more. Here's what the trailer officially tells us. It will be a 7-inch OLED screen, wide adjustable stand, enhanced audio, wired LAN port, and it will be available October 8th. Nintendo confirmed that people will be able to purchase the newly redesigned dock separately if they wish. The catch is that the dock-only option will be exclusive through their website. This means that while this option will be possible, other retailers won't have access. The new dock, of course, features a wired LAN port and improved ventilation. So for our consideration panel, obviously we had a live reaction show here on Boss Rush this week, but for our listeners that didn't catch it, as well as for those on our panel who didn't have a chance to react, what are your thoughts on this announcement, and what do you think of the availability of the improved dock? So, LeRon, we'll start with you. What are your thoughts on this?
Okay. First, I have a question for the Nintendo people on the panel tonight. Did we get any more? Did we get any more specifications about the dock, particularly? Will this
everything inside the units is exactly the same.
So the new dock will work with the existing Switch systems that are out now?
All the accessories are forward and backward compatible.
Okay,
I guess if you want to call it that.
Great. Okay. So my thoughts on the OLED Switch. Okay. So as a person who is a gamer and also like I've been being hounded to start the PC side of for Boss Rush, the OLED Switch is nice. It's exciting and things like that, but I was a little underwhelmed because like currently the Switch is hitting 5. It's 5 years old right now, so it'll be 6 years old soon.
4.
Wait, what?
It's 4.
2017.
It's 4. Okay, all right, okay. But anyway, basically what I'm saying is like like looking into things and stuff like that. Like there's been a big push from developers and publishers to like put a little more oomph into the Switch hardware, and we were kind of hoping that this would be this. Now, this would be that iteration. It would be more like the updates, apparently, because like PlayStation's had those updates. Like we went from the PS4 to PS4 Pro. Microsoft had a similar update, things like that. So we kind of thought that Nintendo was catching on to the trend. At least when I say we, like people like me, But So my main thing is like, like I really wish that that the system itself could have had like just a. I understand if like the new chips aren't ready, the new Tegra chips from Nvidia aren't ready or whatnot, but I feel like they could have done something to just boost the hardware profile a little bit more, because we have certain games that are developed by in-house Nintendo companies that do not perform good enough on the Switch, and that's a bottleneck for people like me.
I would argue that their flagship title for the Switch, Breath of the Wild, does not run great once you get into like when you set the field on fire and there's guardians around and things flying around, and you know what I mean, like that game. I mean, granted, that game was developed for the Wii U first, and they did some porting magic with that, right? But like, still that, and I think Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is another kind of major offender.
I was just gonna say anything Monolith Soft is like running pretty rough on Switch right now.
Here's the one thing I will say. I'm not saying that Nintendo needs to like gut the whole thing and start all over. No. But the simplest thing they could have done was just like doubled the RAM in the system. If they had doubled the RAM in the system, games like it. I would have immediately run out and bought a copy of Hyrule Warriors, just waiting for this new system to show up. I would have immediately gone out, but if it's still, but right now, like, I understand, like, I'm not really going to bog down everybody with tech and stuff. 4 gigs of RAM in this day and age is a freaking nightmare. Like computers don't even, Windows barely runs on 4 gigs of RAM on your computers, stuff like that. So it was one of those things where it's like, that's one of the easiest things they could have fixed. Probably easier than adding more capacity to the actual internal storage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but overall, but beyond that, like, I mean, like, it looks nice. I might get it just because it's a white system. I might get it.
I feel like you're gonna get that in Metroid Dread.
No, well, I've already pre-ordered. I've already pre-ordered Dread.
Are you doing physical or?
I'm getting digital. Okay.
All right, guys, let me get Dan in here on this, because maybe from like the other end of the perspective, Dan, you're somebody that travels a lot for work, like right now. What did this OLED Switch mean to you when you saw that?
I'm really excited about it. I think people are underestimating how good an OLED screen is. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm looking forward to playing Monster Hunter Stories on this with the art direction and the colors, and just so excited to see it pop. Mm-hmm. I think it looks cool. I know that we were laughing about the storage just being a little bit more, but I'm happy about that, because I do download a lot of my games digitally, and it's getting kind of annoying to just like swap them out. It's total first world problem, but I have a launch day Switch too, and with how much I play in handheld mode, I'm really excited to get something new, so I'm going to hold out for this. And it's not for everybody, but it's also not made for people to switch, change their console, right? Like, we probably will get that full revision of a dock in a year or so when we see games like Breath of the Wild 2, Metroid Prime 4, Bayo 3. Like, when we see these games come out, we're probably going to get that dock revision. But for now, like, you don't have to buy it if you don't want it, but for people that play mostly exclusive in handheld mode, these are some pretty significant upgrades, and I'm looking forward to it. The extra $50 is whatever. I mean, for that storage on a card, you're going to pay $50 anyway. So, but like the OLED screen is going to be really cool, and I'm excited to revisit some games too in that. Like Breath of the Wild is going to be really fun in an OLED screen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think it was you, Dan, a few weeks back that was talking about this idea that Nintendo could adopt the DS model or the cell phone model in terms of putting out Switches. And I think you're probably right that we will see maybe a powered up Switch 6 months to a year down the line. Corey, I want to get you in on this, and then Ed, we'll finish with you. What are your thoughts on this, and particularly the idea of selling that dock separately? Is that anything that is significant to you?
Yeah, I mean, the original Switch they sold the dock separately with that too, and I actually bought a couple because, well, I have 3 TVs I would like to play my Switch on: one in the bedroom, one in my office, and one in the living room. So I always thought that was a good idea, except I always thought the dock was really pricey. That original dock was $90. which was like, man, I didn't pay that for mine, but it was like they were on sale on Amazon for like 40 at one point. I'm like, well, I'm just gonna snatch them up before they're not there anymore. Because now, if you want to find an extra dock, LeRon will tell you it's like it's
like
almost
pulling teeth.
impossible. Yeah.
I've been trying to find one for months, just
Yeah.
so I don't have to
Well,
like carry one from upstairs to downstairs. I'm that lazy, but
yeah,
it's impossible.
but
Well, we know why they discontinued him now, right? Like they
Yeah.
discontinued him because they were prepping for this. But
Yeah.
go ahead, Corey.
I was just gonna say, like, you can hear my full thoughts with Jacob on we did a reaction video to the trailer, but as someone who has a day one Switch and has kids who like to throw things, this is like, yeah, okay, people are upset it's not 4K, it's not more powerful, whatever, but an OLED screen is gonna be really nice. Just a bigger battery for me too, from that day one Switch, because that day one Switch, people might remember, it has a 2 to 5 hour battery life depending on what you're playing, and that's being nice, right? Like Breath of the Wild would eat your Switch's battery.
Yeah.
in
Dude, if
about
I
an hour and
play
a
Fire
half.
Emblem, it dies in 45 minutes.
Yeah, it's so that's nice. I think the new kickstand is a really nice feature. I know that's kind of understated, but like, I took my Switch on a plane a couple years ago and had that kickstand out, and I got to tell you, it was like the worst thing trying to keep that thing standing up, and just having it, all the way across. I just think there's a lot of small quality of life changes to this, to where it's time to upgrade. I don't need my Switch to be 4K. Would it be nice? Of course it would, right? We all, most of us have a PS5 or an Xbox Series X now, and we see the quality of life changes just a more powerful system can bring to older games, let alone new games. That would be nice, and I guarantee we'll probably get one in the next 18 months or so. But for now, I think this is a nice upgrade. And to go back to the GameFAQ Advance that we just did, right? Nintendo is always iterating. And like another thing on that is like the N64 went through like 5 or 6 different models. You just didn't know it because the outside looked the same. And we were all too young to even care about any of that crap, So,
yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited. I'll be picking one up as soon as I can probably find one, because scalpers are already selling their pre-orders that don't exist yet.
It's insane.
Ed, take us home on this.
So I squealed. I got happy. I said yes. I twirled in the air seeing this, because I finally, it happened. I know I know I got on Dan about writing a piece about me on how right I am and stuff, but they didn't show that E3. And I know a lot of people was believing a lot of the rumors that everybody was spreading about, but it didn't come true. A lot of people are upset that this is pretty much not a Xbox One X kind of system. I'm like, this is Nintendo. They're not going to do all of that. If they're going to do all of that, they're doing a full new system. It's not going to be the name. It's not going to be under the Switch name. It's going to be a whole brand new system if they're going to do something different. This dropping on the day of Metroid Dread, this is really going to push the sales of Metroid and the system. For people
I
saying
can't wait
that,
to see the bundle packs.
You think they made it? You think they made it white on purpose, and they're re-releasing the neon on purpose? You think they designed Samus and these Emmy robots around the design of this new console?
What,
they don't
Corey?
like
I
Metroid
think so.
enough.
Yeah, I was about to say they don't appreciate Metroid that much.
I think
It's
so.
too much of a coincidence, though. I know. Gotta move on. I can see David's face. You gotta move
it's
on.
coincidental, but
because I want to see it.
But how slick does that new white dock and Joy-Con look?
yes.
Oh,
I
man.
want to see the.
It's
You
gonna
know, I'm
look
probably,
so
I'm probably just
sexy.
gonna I'm probably just gonna go buy the white Joy-Cons, because I
They're not selling them separately.
Are you kidding me?
Mm-mm.
Huh?
All right, Nintendo's not getting no more money from me.
I want to see that.
All right.
I want to see the white Pro controller for the system.
Yeah, they won't give you that either. Let's go. Let's move on.
All right, we're gonna move it on here. So Ed, you'll appreciate this story. Yep, Nintendo is teaming up with Edible for Mario Kart snack gifts. That's right. This is from Thomas Whitehead over at NintendoLife.com. Nintendo of America seems to be on a quest to team up with various food products and services in recent months, because people like to eat and also like to play games. In any case, a new partnership has been born with Edibles, serving up some rather tenuous ties to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. For those unaware, Edible is a company that specializes in snacks and treats that are presented almost like a bouquet of flowers. The specialty is preserved fruits of various kinds covered in chocolate, sugars, and swizzle, with presentation to suit occasions. There's also a planned giveaway and sweepstakes of Nintendo Switch systems with a copy of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, though at the moment, the link simply points to the website's page for theme packages. So by all means, browse the full range. Each purchase apparently comes with 100 platinum points for Nintendo 2 at random. And then this is from the official Nintendo press release. With the new Nintendo and Edible partnership, you'll be able to gift friends and loved ones with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe inspired surprises beginning July 12 in the US and Canada. For game night to date night to birthdays and back to school bashes, get ready to deliver some turbocharged smiles. Let the people in your life know you're thinking of them with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe themed treats and Super Mario balloons. If you'd like to come to someone's birthday and feel extra festive, the Cookie and Fruit Power-Up Birthday Bundle features dipped fresh fruits, pineapple stars, cookie sandwiches, and Super Mario-themed birthday balloons. All right, Snacktendo friends, is this marketing gold or more like a fake item box? Also, what do you make of the decision to feature Mario Kart in the marketing collaboration? Ed, you know we got to start with you. What do you think of this?
I love this. I think it's as big as Mario Kart is, and as big as Nintendo is. Having some snacks to game, whether it's healthy or not healthy, depending on who you are. I think this is a great business move for Nintendo and Edibles. To get out to people to be like, hey, you know, kids love this game and they might love this company, so let's give them some snacks out. Of course, adults going to be buying it because some adults love Nintendo and love the Mario Kart series. So I hope they do more than just Mario Kart. Like do Mario Golf, or do Captain Toad or something. Do a Legend of Zelda kind of snack thing with edibles.
Snack bouquet.
I'm so down for this. I'm probably gonna look up online and probably order me some snacks. I'm sorry, everybody, I'm not ordering you no snacks, but I gotta order me some. LeRon knows that if I send snacks, I do not play when I send snacks. So
LeRon, I was just going to ask you, this seems like something that's so on brand for Nintendo. Could we ever see something like this from PlayStation, or is this just part of the Nintendo deal? What do you think of this?
I feel like this is definitely a uniquely Nintendo thing. Not saying that like Sony or Microsoft wouldn't jump on this. I mean, hell, like Microsoft is getting ready to drop a whole fridge on everybody.
Microsoft have body wash and deodorant.
Yeah, I mean, it's always a possibility out there. Like I will say this, as far as the branding goes, this is genius. I mean, like I'm not saying they're gonna be raking in the dough and have like a new avenue like for all their shareholders to retire on, but this is gonna have a nice little bump. It's gonna be really buzzworthy. People are gonna talk about it for a while. People are gonna like partake in it and stuff like that. So I'm curious. Now, me personally, I'm not saying I would like run out after this. I mean, you know me. Sometimes like the really cutesy stuff, like you got to really work to get me on it. But I mean, I can respect this and I dig it. And I'm a foodie too, so like if I'm at someone's party and I see the Mario Kart stuff, I'm like, okay, let me go get a little plate.
Corey, I want to see what box it comes in. Like if they got
check out the pictures. The pictures are awesome.
I got two free marketing ideas for Sony if they're listening, by the way.
Let's hear it.
Sackboy, just call him Snack Boy. Snack Boy's Big Adventure, and Ghost of Tsushima.
Here's my thing. Why didn't Microsoft jump on this whole Pinata thing when Viva Pinata was like the thing?
I still don't understand why that's not a free to play game with a Fortnite style battle pass. I don't understand. Anyways, sorry.
Corey, I wanted to ask you really quickly though. What do you think of their choice to make Mario Kart 8 Deluxe the featured pairing here? I feel like there's so many ways Nintendo and Edible could have gone with this. That's just I guess it is the best-selling
Because
game of all time on Switch, right?
1 out of every 2 people own Mario Kart 8 and know what Mario Kart is, and it's just an easy thing. Like, I mean, I guess like Animal Crossing probably could have worked too.
That's
with
the one
like,
I was gonna say.
with like Animal
Yeah.
Crackers or something stupid like that. But like, I don't know. I just think Mario and Mario Kart are so big and so broad. It's such a broad appeal because even though Animal Crossing sold like 32 million units or whatever, like the average person will know Mario before they hear Animal Crossing, right? So it just makes sense, I think. So
Animal Crossing definitely was the one that stood out to me, and with like a snack charcuterie do it yourself DIY like package or something. It just seems like that was kind of an opportunity there. But I think you're right about the name brand recognition for Mario and the fact that Mario Kart is such a high selling game.
yeah.
Agreed. Agreed.
All right, well, let's go ahead and move on to the next story here. So Monolith Soft profit increased by 138.2% thanks to Xenoblade Chronicles. This is from Sato over at NintendoEnthusiast.com. Monolith Soft has seen a steady increase in profit over the past few years, but last fiscal year was one for the record books with Xenoblade Chronicles developers. According to a published report from Kanpo, official Japanese government gazette, Monolith Soft's profit for the fiscal year ended March 2021 with a whopping 1.17 billion yen, or approximately $10.67 million, for an increase of 138.2% over the previous fiscal year. The Xenoblade series developer saw a 78.8% increase in profit during the previous fiscal year, ended in March 2020, with a final profit of 491 million yen, or roughly 4.5 million with inflation. During this period, Monolith Soft worked on the development of Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition and assisted on Animal Crossing New Horizons for its parent company, Nintendo. While the sales were up, Monolith Soft specifically mentioned Xenoblade Chronicles as the driving force behind the record profit. Keep in mind that the remaster sold an impressive 1.32 million units in its first month. So, for your consideration panel, is Nintendo taking notice of this? Could we finally see Xenoblade Chronicles X coming to Switch? And why do you think this game has had such staying power in terms of success? There's no shortage of JRPGs. So, Corey, let's get you in on this first. What do you think?
I think Xenoblade, the Xenoblade franchise, has the biggest potential to grow, and I feel like it's finally hitting its stride, right? Like, I feel like everybody's finally appreciating what that first game did. I know a lot of people wanted it on Wii when it came out, and they ported it. It sold fine over here. It was a GameStop exclusive pre-order thing. And then they ported it to 3DS, but that wasn't exactly the way you wanted to play that game, right? You want to play that big sprawling JRPG on your TV. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 was great, but that first game is still like something unique and special. I feel like a little dated at this point, but like still really fun and unique. And Xenoblade Chronicles X is the game that I think people are waiting on. It does a lot of unique things. The game changes like 3 separate times, right? Like the first 30 hours are just like a typical JRPG, and then you get a mech and you upgrade your mech, and then 70 hours in you get to fly and fight dragons and sky monsters, and then after like 110 hours it changes again. Like it's just this crazy huge sprawling game. And I think Xenoblade has Monolith Soft has 4 teams, right? They have the team that's helping with Zelda. They have the team that did the remaster of Chronicles 1, which is now presumably working on a new project. Hopefully it's 3. And they have a team working on Breath of the Wild. Now there's a 4th team that is presumably working on their new IP, Ed, which we talked about 2 years ago. They released that one piece of concept art of this big sprawling kind of wasteland with a little river and a girl with red hair and a sword. Like, I don't know if that's going to be Xenoblade 3 or not, but like Monolith Soft has the biggest potential to grow, and I think Nintendo knows it. And I think you're going to see big things from Monolith Soft, and then as early as next year, I'm going to say.
Ed, you've been nodding a lot as Corey was talking. What do you think about this?
I think it's fantastic. And Xenoblade Chronicles X is one of the most baffling games on Wii U, not in a bad way. How did they get the expensive world running like this on this system? Like people were just trying to figure out this shouldn't be running at all.
Well,
and
you
it
remember
did.
they had the whole game on the disc, and
Yeah,
then you could download a 17 gig
patch.
texture pack, which made the
Yeah.
game exponentially better looking. It ran a little bit better. It gave it like it just it was almost like when you put the expansion pack into your N64. Like it changed
Yeah.
games that much. Like that game is an insane just technological feat on the Wii U, and not only that did it look that good on your TV, but they also had stuff going on the tablet. It was one of the few games that actually utilized the tablet, which I think is why we haven't seen it yet, right? Which, don't get me wrong, they do have games that were on the Wii U that they put the tablet on, like the select button, like Tokyo Mirage Sessions did it.
Yeah.
Mario 3D World did it. Where there was things that you had to do on the tablet that I actually implemented into the console. But like, there was so much going on. It's almost like a Zombie U situation where like the game actually might be worse if you ported it because of
And
all
it
the
was.
things going on the tablet.
Yeah. With the Zombie U one, when it came to Xbox and PlayStation, yeah, they said play it on Wii U because they were just like it loses that appeal to it. I think it's definitely because of Smash Brothers. After that DLC,
I was wondering about that.
after that DLC happened, they just like people was just like, I need to find Xenoblade Chronicles 2 physical. And like people were going out to find the physical over the digital. Some people were buying it, but it was just like, oh, we need to find the physical version of this because you couldn't find it anywhere.
Let me tell you, as someone who recently replaced their physical copy of Xenoblade Chronicles 2, that was not cheap.
Yes. And with Xenoblade Chronicles, after they did the rainfall kind of petition that actually worked, I meant to mention that to you, LeRon. That was the only game petition that actually worked, was the rainfall to get Xenoblade Chronicles to America. Nintendo seeing that, because it was so, I think within a weekend all the pre-orders were sold out for that game. And so when it came out and people got it, GameStop was trying to offer people, hey, if you trade it in, here's $60, and they was going to try to resell it for $80. Yeah,
hey, LeRon, I got to get you in on this as somebody that I know that you like JRPGs. What is it about Xenoblade Chronicles that has had such staying power in a world full of JRPGs?
Well, number one, I feel like it's history. Like, so making it a GameStop exclusive was probably the first misstep in like this game's history, because like you immediately narrowed like the options of where people could get them at, and there was also like a distributing nightmare with that, because there was supposed to be like so many available copies that people would have been guaranteed for the pre-orders and stuff like that, and it wound up getting very very condensed or shortened and stuff like that.
Yeah, if you remember though, Nintendo had a huge relationship with GameStop during the Wii era, right? They had the Metroid Prime trilogy, Steelbook collection there. They had a lot of kind of weird bundles for 3DS and DS and stuff. Like that was like a weird relationship that I didn't really understand at the time.
Yeah, but yeah, so like basically like the whole story of Xenoblade Chronicles, whether it's the original game or all of its iterations and sequels thus far, it's honestly like to use a football analogy, it's like watching the story of Rudy, if anyone knows what I'm talking about, because basically like this Xenoblade Chronicles is just something that you can't contain it, and I enjoy it. Like I actually bought the 3DS version when it came out because I was one of those jaded gamers that was pissed off that I couldn't get a copy of it when I had my Wii back in the glorious days, but like it's one of those things where I played it, and ultimately like I was like I got my fill of it, but I haven't actually gotten any other iterations. But this game, when you have a JRPG that finds its niche audience like that, it just runs. Like look at games like Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter was like one of the most misunderstood games like back in 2004, and look at it now. Like it's outselling Resident Evil and Street Fighter.
like I told LeRon, like Monster Hunter 4 or the Monster Hunter on 3DS when it came out, it sold huge. It went from and no disrespect to the Monster Hunter franchise, but it went to nobody really knowing or talking about it to everybody to like wanting this game.
Let me correct you. Let me correct you on that because like it's so like the highest selling version of it on the PSP sold 5 million units. So like the shift to 3DS wasn't that drastic, but it was noticeable because more people had more people had DSs and 3DSs by that point.
But I should say America then, because I know it was big in Japan. But like when it came to 3DS, even Americans wanted the Monster Hunter series because besides talking to you, LeRon, didn't nobody talk about the Monster Hunter series. So that's how Xenoblade was. You know, look at just the Xenoblade, the Xenosaga games. And how those games came out.
Is this actually related to?
Yep. Xenogears, Xenosaga, and Xenoblade are all. It's the same developer, but like Sony owns the rights to Xenogears.
Gears. Okay.
Namco owns Xenosaga. So the way they're connecting the game is the Xeno name, but they're changing. You know, they're all sort of connected in this weird amalgamation of things, but they can't really say they're connected because of the rights issues. But yeah.
Okay.
I never knew that. That's fascinating.
Yeah.
I knew that Xenosaga was loosely tied to Xenogears because Xenogears is like one of my favorite like RPGs on the PS1.
Yeah, see, Xenosaga is like one of my favorite. That's why Cosmos is a character in Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah, there's a video on YouTube that explains all about it, and that's why Nintendo ended up buying them for that. So
all right, I'm gonna have to watch that then because I'm just finishing up Xenoblade Chronicles now, and I happened to buy Xenoblade Chronicles 2 about a month before the Smash announcement, so I like timed that so perfectly. So I got that waiting for me.
One last thing, David, the box art for Xenoblade Chronicles X is still one of the best. Oh my goodness. And I hope it comes to Switch and I see that same box art. It's amazing.
So Ed, your purpose here tonight is to send us the link and also make sure the Twitch stream gets the link too so they can see it too.
I will. All right.
All right, guys. Well, moving on to other retro games here. Our final story today, retro games selling for outrageous prices. So a pair of retro games have sold for an eye-popping sales prices this week, both coming off the heels. Oh, hold up just a minute. We for our people watching here, we got the Xenoblade Chronicles X being held up by Corey there, the cover art. That's fantastic. All right. So eye-popping prices. So we had a pair of them sell this week, both of which came off the heels of the original Legend of Zelda game selling for $870,000, which we did discuss on the show last week. This time, a sealed copy of Super Mario 64 has sold at an auction for $1.5 million, momentarily breaking the record held by the sale of the original Zelda cartridge. However, according to Dub Dragon Dojo on Twitter, a sealed copy of Double Dragon 2 for the Nintendo Entertainment System has just sold for $2.6 million, which would again shatter the all-time record for retro game sales. So for consideration, what is going on here? Is this a result of generations of gamers finally being old enough to have purchasing power, or is it something more? Is this further proof that video games have achieved work of art status? LeRon, I'm going to start with you on this. What do you think? What's the reason for these sales?
First of all, who in their right mind spent $2.6 billion for Double Dragon 2? Like you either spend that money on Double Dragon 1 or Double Dragon 3. Like I'm of that age of gamers. I'm trying to forget that DD2 existed. But yeah, I do believe this is a situation where it's one of those like if we have the power to purchase it, like we're gonna do it and stuff like that. I'm not saying I may have spent $1.5 million on Mario 64, and I'm really embellishing that because like I'm one of those people with those auctions. As soon as it gets too rich for my blood, I'm putting my fan down. But I mean, I get it. You know, like some people just want the notoriety and like that piece of it and things like that. And I respect that. But God, like millions of I really hope I really hope it works out. That's all I'm gonna say.
Well, Corey, would we be as shocked if someone were to drop this kind of money at an auction for, a famous painting, a Rembrandt, like it just, does this seem to suggest that video games are reaching that iconic art status, or what do you think here about that?
I mean, I think it's a little bit of nostalgia playing a big play. I think it's a little bit of, people realizing that video games are important, and like, the way that a major piece of art is. I was joking with my wife. I'm like, man, I should really reconsider getting rid of my Nintendo 64 collection because I'm sitting on a gold mine. We could probably pay for a house at some point, because my entire Nintendo 64 collection, except for maybe like 5 games, are complete in box. And I was actually looking up the Majora's Mask box last week because it's like one of the only games I don't have complete in box, and the box alone is like $90. I'm like, ooh boy, for a piece of cardboard, that seems a little steep. But it's I think it's good. I think it's good that people are like, it seems like people are finally recognizing that this industry is not just for dude bros who sit in their basement and drink Mountain Dew or beer or Red Bull and Doritos, and like, yeah, I don't know. There's still this stigma, at least around here, there's still this stigma of that, right? But like, I think that stigma is becoming less and less, and things like this are just kind of proving that, oh, well, these games are important not only just to gaming, but to the history of entertainment and the medium and stuff. It's really crazy and fascinating to see this kind of stuff.
They have cultural value.
Yeah, exactly.
Cultural productions,
especially.
Go ahead.
Especially, sorry, I didn't mean to like.
No, go for it.
The originals, especially like that original Zelda, right, and what it did for creating an open world, almost RPG like game, or moving Mario into 3D for the first time. Like, yeah, that game isn't great now, but like at the time it was absolutely revolutionary. It was the first time, like, yeah, we got Crash Bandicoot like a year before that, and that was like, okay, yeah, it's like a 2D game, but they shifted the perspective from left to right to up and down, right, basically, and or forward and back or whatever. And now, like, you have these big open hubs that Mario can run around in and throw stuff and fly and all these other crazy things, and that was so revolutionary. That's like the one game I remember, like, I'm, like, as somebody who's not like a huge Mario fan, I'm still like, Mario 64 was the game that I point to and say, this is when I became the gamer I am today, right? Because of how revolutionary and crazy that game was.
Absolutely. I mean, the world stopped. I'll never forget watching, and at the time growing up in the 80s and 90s, and, video games were not mainstream. And so when the local news had a whole segment on how Mario 64 was in a 3D environment, that was sort of just this moment where it's like people were taking notice that something is changing in this medium.
Yeah. And me, like an idiot, because like I never had a Super Nintendo until later. Me, like an idiot, was like, oh, I'm just gonna get a Super Nintendo because look at all the games you can that are already out, and then my grandma bought me a Nintendo 64 and Mario 64 for Christmas that year, and the rest is history. But like, yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, Mario 64, man, that game is so.
Ed, what do you think? Take us home on this topic.
So, I know me and LeRon talked about this because I was kind of wondering why, like, games like PlayStation and games from Microsoft, why they don't have this kind of nature that, even though these are classic games and they sold so much, why people don't go out and buy them and everything. I think Nintendo has such a rich retro history that collectors who are wanting this game, they would spend the money and go out and buy the stuff. I told LeRon that, I think it was last week on Crossroads, that people would spend a grandma named Kim may have 95,000, may have like 100,000 plus price point worth of games, like really some money, and she's selling that whole box at a garage sale for $2 or $3 per game, and it's still in its pristine condition. Of course it's gonna go up because it's in that pristine condition. If I get a game for $2 and then sell it online for $500,000, someone is willing to up that money. The only other game outside of Nintendo has been Sega Sega was Panzer Dragoon. Like that original Sega Saturn game, that's been out for some money.
Yeah.
To see a game go for $1 million and up.
That's 2.6 for a Double Dragon.
Double Dragon.
Here's the long and short of the whole thing. Like, Nintendo games are in our DNA as modern gamers. It's in our DNA. Like, I joked about that Double Dragon 2 game selling for as much as it did, but at the end of the day, there was some little kid just like me who was like completely awestruck by, Billy and Jimmy doing whirlwind kicks and jumping from platform to platform and stuff like that they had to
the thing at the time too. Oh yeah, the thing.
Go ahead.
The thing at the time too is like you didn't know that game was bad. That's all we had, right? Like
yeah, exactly,
right,
like
100%.
And like you don't learn until later that like, oh well, this might be what a good game feels like, right? Like it's just all. And Ed, to your point too, is like, in LeRon, Nintendo is in our DNA. That's why this show exists. That's why we're all sitting here, celebrating Nintendo every week. And you talk about Sony and stuff like PS1 games. Yeah, there's some PS1 games out there like Tomba and Tomba 2 are games that sell for a lot. I mean, not nearly that much, but like they sell for a lot. But the thing is like Sony didn't have the first party development that Nintendo did. Sony
That's true.
didn't have they arguably still don't have their Miyamoto or their Aonuma or their Iwata, right? Like Nintendo did this out of the crash of the Atari. They came and basically saved video games.
Save the industry.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, I would say, kind of just to wrap this up, obviously I don't have $870K to drop on that Zelda, but man, I would love to have that gold cartridge hanging in a case on my wall.
I have a gold cart by itself, David.
Yeah.
Real quickly, I'm gonna ask this to you guys out there. What is one classic NES title you would drop $1 million on if you had the money to spend it?
NES? I wouldn't drop any money on NES.
Well, I mean, these are NES games. Well, actually, Mario 64 is different, but like that. But like the crown achievement right now is Double Dragon 2, and that's an NES title, so that's why I said NES games. Yeah.
All right, I'll bite. I would say. I obviously the Legend of Zelda but I'll actually throw in a wild card. I will say SNES. If I could get a boxed and sealed copy of A Link to the Past, I would absolutely drop $1 million.
This is why I love you, David. This is why I love you.
I would say for just to say if we're just talking NES games, I would say the original Metroid game. I would just because it's so different and distinct. Like again, it created a whole genre of game.
Yeah,
like it's Sorry, Dan.
I would go Mario 3 or Chrono Trigger. Chrono Trigger would be like my number one. Like I would love to have that one on display.
That's the one I would donate my firstborn son for. The original Chrono. Do you know how many times I bought Chrono Trigger? Like I bought the original Super NES release. I bought the PS1 release when it was in the Final Fantasy Chronicles collection, and then I bought it again when it came to DS.
Yeah.
And I bought all those three, and I bought it on Steam.
See, I haven't bought the Steam version because I got this big ass computer screen, so I was like, no, I can't do that.
For me, it would be Ninja Gaiden for NES, and then Earthbound for Super Nintendo. For Sega Genesis, actually for Sega CD.
I said one genre.
I know, but
Ed has to have 5.
Ed's list. Ed's list problems. When you say one, you mean one page of games.
Hold on. There's 4 other people on the show tonight to moderate. Ed, hurry up.
My last one. The one that I would really spend money on is Snatcher on Sega CD.
Okay, yeah, I had that one. I owned that one. Corey.
I already said it.
Oh, yeah.
Metroid, original Metroid.
Oh, Metroid, that's right. Yeah,
cool. Not the reprint, the original black box, black label.
Oh yeah.
Metroid.
Oh yeah.
LeRon, did you say yours?
No, like because you and Dan both had me upswept when Dan
All
said
right.
Chrono Trigger and you said Link to the Past. But for me, like my NES title would probably be Mega Man 2.
Oh, that's a good choice.
Again, I
choice.
have that card if you want. Just the
All
card,
right,
though.
Ed. I'm going to wrap this up here. That was our family news segment, everybody. Thank you to the panel for a great discussion. Ed, I'm going to send it back to you.
All right, everybody, it's time for Doc Mode. Grab your Mosty and gear up as the Pow Block crew talk all things related to Monster Hunter Stories 2. What do we love about the game? The problems we have with it? What do we think of sales for this game? Will we see this on other platforms and more outside of the PC? So, my elite block agents, let's get into this. So, of course, David, you have played the demo for the first time. Corey, LeRon, and Dan, you have played the demo also, and now the full game is out. I'm experiencing it for the first time. So let's get into the first question. What do we love about this game?
The art.
I'm
art
going to start
direction.
with you. I'm going to start with you, LeRon, as our guest.
Okay, as the ultimate Monster Hunter fan here on this panel, the main thing I love about Monster Hunter Stories, the overall franchise per se, is just you get more immersiveness in the lore of Monster Hunter, especially if you're somebody like me that's been playing Monster Hunter for 15 plus years now. This is just like a gold mine for me and stuff like that. Like, yes, there's the artwork. Yeah, there's the simplified playing style. Yes, there's the fact that you can own damn near every single monster that's in the entire mythos of Monster Hunter and stuff like that. Like, that's beyond the point. Just getting the lore, like finding things out and stuff like that, because like Monster Hunter is just this big, rich world. You have humans, you have Wyverians, and then you have the monsters, and then beyond the monsters, you have the god tier versions of the monsters called Elder Dragons and stuff like that. It's amazing. I love it, and Capcom knew what they were doing for a Monster Hunter fan like me when they came out with stories. I can't say enough.
Dan, you did a little mini review for it.
Yeah, good review, by the way.
Yeah, thanks. It was I like played a lot of Monster Hunter Stories in the demo, and then when the day it came out, I played it like all day. I even played the original one a little bit just to compare it. And I mean, I can tell you just from the little bit I played from the first one, this game blows it out of the water. Like,
yes,
it's
for real.
Yeah, I mean, it's a sequel that kind of stays true to the original, but like is just so much better. The art style is amazing. Like, the battle system is fun. Like, I've seen a lot of people say they don't like it because it's just a rocks, paper, scissors type battle system, but there's so much depth to it when it comes to, your different style of weapons and like the different moves you can use. And
the kinship
there's even quality. Yeah, the
great, too.
kinship and like the quality of life too. Like, what's awesome is like if you're overpowered going against a weak team of enemies, it just ends the battle and you can collect monster parts. And it like I liked Rise. I didn't love Rise. Like, I just couldn't get into it. But like, one of the things I loved about Rise was like the collecting and crafting and everything. And you take that into Monster Hunter Stories and you turn it into a JRPG, and it's like, it's so addicting to find these monsters, explore dens, collect parts, build up your weapons, build up your armor. There's so much to do in it that like I find myself getting lost trying to actually play the story because I'm like, oh damn, there's another rare monster den.
Yeah.
My ass over there. And then after I do that, I gotta go find this certain monster so I can collect his parts, and I gotta get a better weapon. Like, it's just, there's so much to do. It's just so much fun. Like, even the grind feels rewarding. Everything's rewarding in this game, which is just so nice. Like, I'm blown away. I love it right now.
I told LeRon in the chat, I was just like, I cannot progress in this game because these side quests are addictive. It's so good.
But that's how the original Monster Hunter Stories was. Like, leveling up that prayer pot, like just going out there, running back and forth, doing missions, stuff like that. Like sure, like in the old school Monster Hunter games, like the traditional Monster Hunter games, you're worried about getting armor and weapons and stuff stuff like that. In this game, you're worried about getting those freaking monsters.
David, with you trying out the demo, what do you think about this game? Is there something that connects to you to be like, oh, I think I'm going to love this if I purchase this game, and if you don't purchase it, I might have to send you a birthday gift?
Well, I would just say that I'm somebody that the demo worked on multiple times. Nintendo, that is a beautiful Amiibo. Nintendo made money off me twice, so I downloaded it for myself and for my daughter, and we both played through the demo this weekend, and she absolutely fell in love with the game, and so I purchased the full game for her, and she's probably put in like close to 30 hours already on it, which is just crazy.
Wow. Jesus.
Yeah, like she's just totally immersed. And for me, I think it's so aptly named Stories because for me, the thing that hooked me is the storytelling. It's so well done and immersive. And I got to be honest, like I really approached with some skepticism because I don't need another franchise to get into. I already have a bunch, and I found myself hooked. Like I found myself loving the story, wanting to know more. I won't talk too much about the art because I know Corey's going to do that, but the artwork combined with the good storytelling was so immersive for me that I felt like, as somebody who's kind of on the fence about JRPGs sometimes, I want to play more. So I probably will buy the full version when I'm done with Xenoblade, which I'm pretty close to now. So,
okay, Corey, your turn. Dig in. Go.
I've only played about. My weeks have just been really crazy the last couple weeks with work and stuff, but like just that initial 5 or 6 hours that I played of the demo, and then the couple hours I've played of the full game, it's just like the art in this game is amazing. And it's like you look at it first and you're just like, oh yeah, it's just another anime game where it's basically Pokemon on steroids, whatever. But like you go out into the world, there's so many places to explore. The color palette and just like the way they shade the environments or the characters, like it's just like it's almost anime mixed with Wind Waker to an extent.
Yeah.
Like it's just I can't get, like that's what drew me in was the environments and the art, and like you go up these plateaus and you're looking at these mountains and these waterfalls, and just the way the art works with the environment and the shading and the way the cliffs reflect the shadows and stuff. It's just like, it's phenomenal. I love the art of this game. I like the art of the characters. Like I think the chief is hilarious looking. Like I just think he's just awesome. He's like Hawaiian Santa almost. It's just so much fun. I love the art and I love the way it plays, and I think the monsters feel distinct in this game. And I was talking to Jacob the other day, he wants a whole Monster Hunter game in this art style. I don't know how you would feel about that, LeRon, but like,
I would welcome it.
Yeah.
Corey, did he buy it?
I don't feel like this would fit a regular Monster Hunter game, this art style.
Well, not when you think about like Monster Hunter hit like its ultimate with like Monster Hunter World. Like I don't.
Don't get me wrong, like Monster Hunter World's art style was awesome, right? Mm-hmm. But I'm saying if you're gonna make like a Switch only version, like I almost feel like Rise would have benefited more of not exactly this art style, but like the color palette mixed with the world style,
That We're talking about tech now. We're talking about tech.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. It's like
I feel like Rise though, the art style fit that game perfectly.
Yeah,
like, you felt like
Rise.
So in the environment in that game, and it was just. I thought Rise was like perfect when it came to the design.
Rise's graphical design and art style, the one thing they did right with Rise, going from World to Rise, is they they went to the Japanese style, and that's what makes Rise work.
Rise feels like more of a Japanese kind of.
Actually, Rise feels like a more anime version of freaking Monster Hunter. To be honest with you,
it kind of does.
Rise kind of reminds me of like Samurai Champloo in a sense. in that
Yeah.
kind of style.
Yeah.
Like if you
Yeah.
mix it with some hip hop, it would have been like
Now,
that would
now
have
you
been
guys
awesome.
are just
Yeah.
talking nerd stuff. I don't understand.
That's anime.
Yeah.
But I think but I think stories have such like you mentioned, Corey, this windbreaker kind of feel to it, anime style. But it's like it looked like with the color palette, you're on this island. It feels like it's Hawaiian. It feels like definitely when you get later on into the story, because I know you got a favorite character, LeRon, that you've been loving.
Wait, what? Huh? Whoop.
The cat that's in the purple.
Oh, yes,
The-
Tsukino. Oh my God.
So
I had to turn Rise back on just to unlock that skin from my Palico.
I think for each, because I feel like now Capcom could be able to split the games and they each could have their own series in a sense.
Well, they are now,
Well,
right?
that's what they've been doing. Like, I mean, like, with stories, you can only play it on the 3DS and on the tablets, on mobile.
But I think they could go more. I think they're going to continue more with stories, in a sense. And now with Rise and stuff, they probably be like, okay, this could be the Nintendo and PC.
Well, it's almost like like the main series could be their game, like their service game almost, right? And then the stories game could be like, okay, well, we need something to put out in between main releases. This can be our, hey, you may not be into full Monster Hunter like me, right? Like I would like to. I'm telling them. I told LeRon the other day that I would, if we were to do a series where he taught me how to play Monster Hunter for the YouTube channel, maybe we would do it.
Finally. Like this is what it took stories to get you guys to play Rise. I don't understand.
I played Rise. I was waiting for it.
I'm not talking to you, Ed. I know about you. I'm not talking about you.
I'm about to say, because you're like, you guys, I'm just like, I played Rise.
LeRon's talking about the white boys on this show right now. Okay?
Well, we're gonna move on to the next.
I did not make it about color.
But the color in my side of the stories is beautiful.
I see what you did there.
What problems did we have with the game? I think it's the frame rate drops, but it's not that bad. I think that's the only problem that I'm having with this, just the frame rates. And I think that'll be patched later on. But yeah, anything else? Dan, did you have any problems with it, or
the frame rates do drive me crazy because like most of the time they're not even happening like when there's a lot going on the screen. It's like there'll really be text, or like even just a cutscene where you're just looking at somebody and all of a sudden like it's just dropping like crazy. I don't get it.
In the main town, the frame rate drops a lot.
A ton.
Yeah, and it's just like, well, this should be like where it runs the best because like everything is just kind of like static and like the people that are the people that are walking around are like on a animation, like a schedule, animated schedule, like they just walking around doing their own thing, whatever. Like that should be where it runs the best. And then when you get out where the monsters are roaming around, that's where it should drop.
Right.
Yeah, I know a lot of people say it's been better in handheld mode than on dock mode.
Yes,
yeah.
And that's crazy.
It's because the resolution is only like 540p.
Oh wow. David, did you have any problems with it when you was playing the demo, or you were just still trying to learn the game?
I'm still like 3 hours in, but I would just say there's like a few things that I wish were a little different. I know you can jump when you're on monsties, but I wish you could jump otherwise when you're just walking around. That kind of takes me out of the game a little bit. It just annoys me.
But as someone who's into Zelda, you should be used to that though.
Oh god.
Oh, are we
the lack of a jump button is a sore spot for me. Maybe that's why. Maybe you hit the nail on the head. And then,
side tangent on the jump thing. I went back to the 3DS and I started up Ocarina of Time again because I was like, okay, well, I haven't played this in a while. I haven't played it in probably like 20 years actually. And like I went and did everything. I forgot that Zelda doesn't have a jump button. And I went use the Breath of the Wild controls. And I'm like, I can't sprint. I can't jump. I can't do anything. This is stupid.
Like, when do you jump in JRPGs? Like they have a jump button in Xenoblade. And I just run around a field jumping up and down.
I jump all the time in Xenoblade. When I'm going down hills and I don't mind taking fall damage so I can get down faster, I totally jump.
LeRon, I know you're probably gonna pick this game up for PC, and I know you're gonna hype it. So please stream it so I can watch it, so I can just like gag.
See, okay, so you know what? That's my sore spot I have about this game. Like, there is no cross save for this game.
Mhm.
I mean, like,
There's
yeah,
not?
Capcom knows how I am about Monster Hunter, so I'm most definitely probably going to pick this game up on PC as well. But the fact
Mr.
that there is
Capcom knows LeRon.
exactly, but the fact there is no cross saves is like boggling my brain. And it's like, come on, guys, have you not learned from the angst that all the Monster Hunter players went through from the PlayStation 4 or the Xbox One version to the PC version? Come on, guys, like it's not that hard. And this game launched at the same exact time on the same exact day for both platforms, and there's no cross save. It was almost like well, we know PC players are going to buy it, but we're going to make sure everything happens on the Switch. You know, like the Switch had early release. You know, as far as like you can play technically the first 15 hours of the game technically. You know, and stuff like that. You know, and why there was no demo for the PC, I don't understand that either. But you know, it is what it is. You know, like especially like we just came off the heels of E3 and stuff like that. And if the PC gaming show told you one thing, it's is that everybody had demos ready for every single game they reeled on that PC gaming show. Like Capcom, like what were you doing besides showing us like 30 minutes of Phoenix Wright?
Yeah. Well, I want to ask you guys. Okay, what did we think of the sales? Just quickly, we don't got full sales yet, but it showed up as number 3 on the UK charts. Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart is number 1. FIFA 21 is number 2, and Monster Hunter Stories 2: Rings of Ruin came in number 3. We'll probably still get information for North America and Japan a little bit later in the week before this recording. But what you guys think? Do you think number 3 is good for this, just in the UK, knowing that, or do you think it's going to be more once full numbers come out, or the NPD come out? David, what's your thoughts?
Ed, I'm sorry, my internet cut out there for a moment and just came in on the end of your question. So were you saying that it placed 3rd so far in launch weekend? Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, so it placed 3rd and on the launch in the UK. We don't have numbers for America, Japan yet. But what did you think of the sale numbers that it is being number 3?
I think that's going to go up big time. I think with as popular as Monster Hunter has been, in the West and in Japan, like I can't imagine that doesn't continue to climb. And I think also Nintendo has all the momentum right now. And this is, this and Skyward Sword are featured for July. So I think those numbers go way up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Dan, I know you are the numbers guys. What are your thoughts?
I think this is actually going to hit a little more wide of a range than Rise did. I think it's just a little bit more approachable than some of the other Monster Hunter games, and I think it's a good entry to the series. Mm-hmm. I think we could see it hit at least 2 or 3 million copies for sure. And I think the more it catches on, it's gonna get legs throughout the year. This could easily be a game that hits 3 million.
What about what's your thoughts, LeRon?
I'm under the same. I agree with Dan on this, but I just really don't know. And the reason why I'm saying this is because Monster Hunter Stories 1, in my opinion, well, based off everything I know, like it did not sell well outside of Japan, and like the overall thing with Stories 1 in Japan, they got a second season added onto the game. They got a whole bunch of DLC. Like we only got like what was scheduled for the first game, and that was about it. And then like all of a sudden it showed up on iOS and Android, and I was like, okay, what's going on here? And a lot of people were convinced there was no sequel coming, and then all of a sudden, boom, we got a sequel coming. It's like, okay, like what's going on here? Stuff like that.
So Stories 1 actually only sold 350,000 in total.
It didn't sell, but most of his units sold more in over in the East than it did over here. Like there was just like no momentum for it. And like Capcom, like Ed, you said it before, like Capcom went on this nice little marketing spree for Stories 2, which shocked the hell out of me because Stories 1 had a whole anime series behind it.
Yeah.
But the power of the Switch is strong, man. Like the
Okay,
way
that
that
is true. That is
Switch
true.
has been steamrolling the last couple of years, like so many people have bought a Nintendo Switch in the last 18 months that they're gonna ride that train and just market the hell out of it. I mean, we all watched E3. Like, I think 3 different presentations had Monster Hunter Stories 2 on it.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, I
Yeah.
got sick of it by the time we saw Nintendo present on Tuesday of E3. So it's like they were going for it, and honestly, it lived up to everything too. So
Yeah, so far it's been impressive.
Yeah.
Corey, what are your thoughts about this?
I think this game is actually going to do surprisingly well. I think this game actually has the potential to beat out Skyward Sword HD just because out of all the Zelda games, Skyward Sword seems to have the biggest stink attached to it because of like the motion controls and stuff. Now, granted, it's Zelda; it'll probably sell, right? Like, I mean, it's Zelda; it's gonna sell.
Everybody's prepared for Friday.
Yeah, but I think that Monster Hunter Stories 2 plus the just the popularity of Monster Hunter World and Rise seem to have put Monster Hunter on the map more than the previous games, and so I think this game is going to do well. Just also because like people love JRPGs on the Switch, and they'll play anything, right? Like Bravely Default 2 sold well, you know what I mean? Like that's such a odd name mixed with like just
it's so niche.
yeah, I think this game's going to sell really well. I think it's going to sell probably 10 times better than the first one. Like I really feel like this game's going to do, just because like it looks great, it plays great. The word of mouth seems to be going around. I just feel like this game's just going to blow a lot of things out of the water. So
Did you guys think that it may end up on some people's Game of the Year list, or like maybe best JRPG along with Monster Hunter Rise? Because it has the possibility of doing it.
Actually, I feel like with the way like Monster Hunter Stories has been accepted, Monster Hunter Stories is going to probably take home more awards than Rise does, and that's saying something because Rise is I think fast approaching 9 million units shipped.
I think this would probably. I could see both of them being on some people's nominations for this year.
The reason why I'm saying Stories beats out Rise in that regard is because Rise is the main series of Monster Hunter is now considered an action game. Like most people don't even describe it as an action RPG anymore. They just describe it as an action game. And now that you can jump and climb and do all that stuff, now technically it's more like an action platformer. Versus that. It's got the RPG elements, of course, of grinding and all that stuff. And Stories has that too. But more simplified. But I just have a feeling that like Stories is adopting very well with the market that's available on the Switch, and that's where we're gonna see it because and also like Capcom kind of like I don't know, like it seems like Capcom's already kind of like dropped Rise off of a cliff.
I don't know, man. Rise has been getting a lot of good support.
Is there a roadmap?
There has been no new roadmap for Rise since late May.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I wonder.
Right now, like the next two things are all centered around Monster Hunter Stories as far as Rise goes. But for Stories, they gave us the roadmap 5 months out. They didn't do that for Rise. They didn't do that at all for Rise.
I wonder if it's because of them working on the PC stuff. I wonder for Rise, and they're gonna add.
No, because because let's listen to me for a second here. Like Monster Hunter World came out in February on PS4 and Xbox One, and then it came out in October on the PC. So no.
I just want to kind of go back to what LeRon was saying for a second, like between Rise and Stories, like any Monster Hunter fan who plays both the games is going to say that Rise is the better game and probably deserves more awards. But the fact that like Stories 2 is more approachable and can be played by anybody is definitely going to be the reason that we see it more in any awards shows. Like just because it's going to have more eyes on it. It's not as niche, it's more approachable. So the more eyes on it, like the more people are gonna accept like what's going on with it, like the music, the art direction, like just pretty much all of that stuff. So, I mean, I'm with you, LeRon. I even if Rise probably does deserve more awards, I think Stories might pick up
Yeah.
more nominations.
Well,
Well,
before you go,
it's
LeBron, before you go,
Mhm.
David, what are your thoughts about thinking of it could get some good nominations?
Yeah, can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
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 Okay, great. Sorry, my signal's been bouncing around here. Yeah, I think it can get some awards just because I think it's so accessible. It's bringing people in who might not otherwise have given the series a look. And I honestly, I'm one of those people. Like I'm really trying hard to not get interested because I just have too many franchises to play. But it's totally sucked me in, and it could be one of those surprise sort of, forming almost like a cult following kind of games because it's so engaging and well done.
What about you, Corey?
Sorry, I'm
Busy.
I gotta. Sorry, my kid is awake. We're communicating via text message. So my wife and I, not my kid and I, my wife and I are, So sorry. What were you asking? I'm sorry, Ed. I'm really
Do you
sorry.
think Stories could get a lot of nominations for Game of the Year or even JRPG of the Year?
I think you can see it in some RPG categories. I mean, I know the Switch is full of them, especially this month, right? With World Ends With You and Monstrum Nox is out, the Ys 9, and there's a lot of other RPGs coming out later this year as well. But like, I could see it getting a lot of RPG love just because Monster Hunter is more mainstream now than others. It's got a great art style, great battle system, so I could see it there. I could see it ending up on a lot of top 10 lists for Switch specifically. Maybe like in the 4 to 7 ish range this year, because it's a great game and I think it can compete with Skyward Sword and Metroid and these other games that are coming out later this year too. So
it's a possibility that it could win the Bossies from the Boss Race Awards, but we will discuss that later. Final question for you guys. Go ahead, Laura. I'm sorry.
I'll tell you what, if it actually takes awards over, or if it takes Boss Rush awards over Monster Hunter Rise, I will riot.
Well, like I said, there's more to discuss.
I will pack up Crossroads and we will go home.
Last thing, will we see this on other platforms? Do you guys think that Monster Hunter Stories 2, due to the popularity of it, has more good sales? We know that's coming for PC, but is there a chance for it to come to mobile or come to PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series Series X? I'm sorry. Do you think that this game could show up on more platforms? And maybe you guys could answer this, Corey, David, and LeRon. If Monster Hunter Stories 2 hits Game Pass, could that get more people into the series? But let's answer the first part. Do you guys think that this game could come to other platforms? Corey, I'm gonna start with you.
I feel like this has a better chance of coming to other platforms later. I wonder if Nintendo paid for like a timed exclusive for this at some point. The first game, 3DS game, probably not going to look the best if you put it on an HD console, right? Like it's just, I feel like that game was designed for mobile use. This game, though, just it's getting a PC release, so that automatically puts it in a place where I feel like this could come to other consoles later. Capcom is no stranger to putting games on other platforms after, right? I mean, you look at Resident Evil 4 with the GameCube, and I still have my copy that says only for GameCube, and it's been on 75,000 consoles since then. So, but yeah, I mean, I feel like it's a good candidate to come. I feel like this is a game that Microsoft might look at and say, we're going to try to get this on Game Pass when this exclusivity is up.
What about you, Dan?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why I wouldn't. Like Capcom publishes on every platform. Why not? Why limit yourself on sales? It's silly.
Yeah, unless Nintendo helped fund this game directly, like I don't see it. I feel like it could come to other platforms, right? Like I just don't see it not. Like why wouldn't you? I think we're in this space where Japanese games are finally in a space where they're expanding to other consoles outside of Nintendo or just PlayStation, right? Look at Octopath Traveler making it to Xbox Game Pass before it hits PlayStation, right? You look at Yakuza moving to Xbox. You look at Judgment and all these other. You see these other big Japanese games aiming for a worldwide release on multiple platforms for the first time in such a long time. That limiting yourself these days is just it's gonna really hurt your bottom line at this point, right? Like games are so expensive to make and market and produce press discs, press cartridges, right? Like you're gonna have to pay for that at some point. So I think it's a no-brainer to put it on other consoles once this exclusivity is up if Nintendo didn't fund it directly.
What about you, David?
I mean, I think it just depends on how well the game sells, because if it is a mega seller, that's like the only scenario where I could see Nintendo trying to take some kind of action to keep it console specific. Otherwise, like there's no reason for them to fight to keep the game on there if it's already sold, it's 5 million copies that it's going to sell. Why fight to keep it exclusive? That, I can't see them doing that.
All right. And LeRon, you'll have the last word.
All right. If Capcom decides to get greedy, yes, it'll show up on other platforms. But I've always said one thing when it comes to all the consoles, like you look where your demographics are at. Like there's a good possibility that this game may show. Well, it's going to be on the PC, and the PC sales will tell like where it will go next. If the PC sales look strong enough, then the next demographic to get it will most likely be PlayStation. Because PlayStation gamers are RPG gamers in the traditional sense of JRPG gamers. So, Xbox gamers are more Western RPG gamers. So this might be the disconnect right there, So it's all about the demographics and stuff like that, and where they feel that they may be able to get the biggest bang for the buck for it. Also, the Switch has some wonky architecture. As far as like programming and stuff. So it's good this game is available on PC because it'll be a lot easier to translate for the other consoles.
Yeah. I think it'll probably come to mobile and Steam. Well, it probably is on Steam, I think, if it's on PC.
It is a Steam game.
Okay. I don't know if it's coming to Epic Games or anything. It may later on down the line. I can see this on other consoles, definitely on PlayStation. I can see it on. If it does come to Game Pass, I really hope that people dive in and play it, because when we talked about Microsoft kind of want to get into the Japanese market and would love to have more Japanese games, I think this fits that requirement. This fits what they've been looking for. And it'll be a good thing to get people to like play and finish it. I hope people just don't say, I'll try it on Game Pass to see how it is. I really want people to like dive in, because it's such a great game. And when you see people say that, okay, now I see why the Nintendo fans or the Nintendo community love this game, so I'm going to stick with it and play it on Game Pass. Let Microsoft and Capcom get them coins from Microsoft if they can. But last thing I will say, everybody, please go to GameRant.com. Grayson Morales, our good friend, did a review for it. Also go to Boss Rush Games, read Dan's review for it. Those two did a fantastic job, and maybe in the future we're probably going to get a spoiler cast for this to have Grayson on, and Dan. Of course, LeRon, you're going to have to be there, because it would be.
I mean,
that's something.
Welcome me back to the table, please.
That's something Dan and I have actually talked about. Is like we want to get spoiler casts going, especially because with our prepping other content for Pow Block and other stuff, like spoiler casts are a big thing that we're looking at. And I think Monster Hunter Stories 2 and Skyward Sword are two games that are rife for starting spoiler casts. So
I can't.
I'll do a Bravely Default 2 one all by myself. And it's going to be 5 hours long.
Dan, great review, Dan, by the way. I know we kind of talked about it in the chat the other day. I was like, man, this got up fast, and like I finally read it yesterday, and it was great. So great job on that review.
Awesome, thanks.
Yeah, for real.
I know, David. I cannot wait for you to learn with your Skyward Sword. And if they do like I said, if they do a Majora's Mask one, I am going on that spoiler cast. I'm not gonna hate, but you already know that I'm probably gonna be like, I love this game now. I'm probably gonna nerd out with you hard about that. But everybody, that has been our Dogmo. We're gonna quickly get into playing with power. Dan, what have you been playing with power?
Aside from Monster Hunter Stories 2, I've been trying to wrap up Crosscode. That's kind of hitting a wall for me. I fired up Smash and I started using how do you say his name? Kazuya? Kazuya? Holy crap. That is like the most intricate Smash fighter ever. Like, he is really difficult, but like rewarding to use. That's like, I mean, he is a serious like fighting game character in a Smash Brothers game, and it's like it's super cool. It's fun. He's fun to use. Like, Fighter Pass 2 has just been phenomenal. Like, every character, I mean, Min Min is the only one I couldn't really get on board with. But man, that's been such a good Fighter Pass.
Yeah, it's I mean, I feel like the characters in Fighter Pass 1 were a little bit more exciting from like a nostalgia or character standpoint, but like just from a fighting standpoint, Fighter Pass 2 has just been a phenomenal addition.
Yeah, Fighter Pass 1 is good too. Like, I know a lot of people hated Byleth, but Byleth is really fun to play as.
Okay, they hated Byleth because it's another Fire Emblem character. They didn't hate it because it was Byleth, right? Like, I hated that.
Yes.
Like, Byleth is awesome. I will defend Byleth. I was like, remember, but like the big thing was like everybody thought Dante was coming because they've released all of the Devil May Cry games that week on Switch, and they're like, are they teasing Dante? No.
I can say, I still can say, me and David was just like, that's Ganon. What is going on? Like, we literally was just like, me and David had connected to connected to the internet like that. We were like, what the world is going on? And then when we seen it was Smash and they threw him off, that's when I fell out laughing.
Yeah, with the Kazuya trailer. Yeah, that was awesome.
But yeah, me and David just like, Ganon. Like, we was in unison on that trailer.
I'll be honest with you. As a Tekken fan, I kind of suspected that this was going to be like a Smash reveal when they showed that. Just for a simple fact, I was like, why is it being carried off the side of a cliff? And I was like, hold on a second, like Heihachi and Kazuya had this thing where they're father and son in Tekken, and they have this thing where across 3 different games, someone's been chucked off the side of a mountain.
I love the end of that trailer though, when he drops Kirby off the edge, and then there's just
Kirby
like
floats on
3 seconds of silence, and then you just see him popping like in the background. Man, they're getting so good with those reveal trailers, man. Like, when like Mario got bodied in a few of them by like Minecraft Steve, and then when Sephiroth like pierced him, like I was like, oh my god, this is dark.
Ridley killed him in the Metroid one.
Ridley killed him too. Oh my god. So anyway, like, I've been playing that. I'm so close to finishing all the puzzles in Picross S6. Once that's done, I'm just gonna have to sit here and wait for Picross S7. I played the Tetris 99 Maximus Cup to get that Mario Golf skin. And I hadn't played in a while. I was getting really bad. And then lastly, so my fiance, the only game she'll ever play is Mario Party and Captain Toad. So we fired up Captain Toad and tried playing the last level, which is called Mummy Maze Me. And it's like 50 levels of just chaos. And it's one of the most difficult things. We played it for like 50 minutes and didn't beat it.
David, what have you been playing with power? Oh, did he freeze?
We'll come back to David.
Yeah, he's been loading out.
Okay. LeRon, what?
Hey, hold up. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, God. I don't know what's going on with my Sky. I must need like an update or something. It's just totally like going nuts.
Also, it's Skype.
So I'm sorry. Yeah. Which is weird because like none of my anyway, whatever. You're asking me what I'm playing with power, right?
Yes.
So I finally did 100% Age of Calamity again, including all the DLC, and am more convinced than ever that it's one of the best Zelda games ever made. It's phenomenal, and so I loved it. It was so great, and I even found all the Korok seeds. I also have been.
Do the people over at Zelda Dungeon know that you think this is one of the best Zelda games? Do we?
There's factions there for sure. I'm not the only one in the Age of Calamity camp. I also been playing a lot of Xenoblade Chronicles, and I'm on the last boss now, so I'm pretty excited to finish that up. It's been great, and then I've been playing a ton of Fortnite. So
how do you feel about that? Like last couple of chapters in Xenoblade Chronicles, kind of crazy, right?
Oh, it is. Like, there's just so much going on that it's like, but it's great. Like, all the cutscenes are awesome, and it's so imaginative. I'm totally just feeling like I'm gonna sell my soul to the series here. So,
do it.
LeRon, what have you been playing with Power?
So I actually dusted off like a couple of games I kind of neglected over a while, and they've all been on the Switch actually. So that's
wow.
That's
Wow. Write this down,
like,
everybody.
Yeah, I picked up both Hades and Foregone. You know.
Yes.
Oh, Foregone. Tell me about
Foregone.
Oh God, Foregone is so amazing. You know what?
It's so good.
And you know what? Well, the cool thing is, I'm kind of glad I picked those games up because those are the games I took a long break from, and I got back into it, and I was like, oh man, it's like I didn't even forget what I was doing and stuff like that. I can't say that. I can't say when I get back on Horizon Zero Dawn, I will be starting that over for the 4th time because it's like, what the hell was I doing and stuff like that. But nah, Foregone. Oh my God, like I forgot how refreshing like just the combat system is on that. Basically it's a rogue, but like you don't get crushingly defeated every time you die, just like in Hades and stuff like that.
Roguelike. Oh no.
You
ruined
Corey?
it for me.
Corey?
You ruined it for me.
Okay. Oh, you know what? That's fine, but I will say this: like, give that game a chance, actually, because it's actually fun. It is very fun. It's not one of those games where you're gonna hate yourself every time you die and stuff like that. You may get a little peeved, but it's like, okay, I gotta get back into this. Kind of like with Hades. Like I want to say, like Hades and Foregone have so much in common, but they're such different games that it's weird. And same thing, like I picked up, I messed around a couple. I was in bed, and Hades is the game I play in bed. so it's
not a bedtime game.
Oh, it is for me. It is for me when the lights are
stressful.
I will say I'm buying it for Series X because I love that box. I love that green with that such of Hades. I'm like, oh, this looks so good. So I'm double dipping on Series X, but it's such good.
LeRon, have you escaped Hades yet?
Oh God, no. It's gonna take me a while to do that because like it took me like 7 attempts to beat the first it's not
lady
Megara.
It's not a Valkyrie. What are they? I'm thinking God of War when I say Valkyrie, but what?
No, it's Meg, the first one.
Yeah.
And then you fight her sisters after that.
Yeah, it took me like 7 tries, and the crazy part was like every time I fought her, like like it was like I was like, I'm picking this up, I'm getting this and everything, and then something stupid would happen, and you're dead.
The crazy thing about that was like I had the hardest time beating the 3rd level bosses, and after like the first or second time I beat them, I just like was getting through them every single time. Like that's kind of just what happened in every round I played, except the second one. The second boss I beat every time.
You know what? I honestly feel like a lot of games are like that because like Returnal, like a lot of people who've been playing Returnal say like like when they fight the repeats of those creatures again and stuff like that, it's so much easier and stuff like that. And I think that's the thing about it. Like your first attempt at it is always going to be the hardest one, but it's got that difficulty jacked up on purpose. So like when you see it again, all of a sudden it feels rewarding that you beat it, in X amount of time versus however long it took you the first time. And stuff like that.
It feels rewarding every time too.
Yeah, it does.
You learn the patterns, and you probably have a better weapon.
That too, and also honestly, it just feels like they don't. It also feels like they don't slap you as hard.
Right.
Well, awesome. So happy for you playing Foregone to Hades.
Of course, I was playing Monster Hunter Stories too. I mean,
Yes.
The one thing I will say about that is I really hate that Capcom released this not even 3 months after Rise because everyone knows that whenever they see my status up on Switch, like they knew I was playing Rise. There was no other game like I was playing, like someone caught me playing Foregone and they immediately, like a friend of mine like on Twitter saw me playing Foregone and he actually DM'd me like, what are you doing? But beyond that, I was playing Rise so strong until that damn trial version of Stories 2 came out. And then I was like, oh,
No, I love how you just said, I'll give it a try too. Like, I love this game.
Wait, what now?
When you was just like, I'll try this game on Switch. Let's see how it goes. And then I love this.
There was no I'll give this a try. Like, it's Stories. It's a Monster Hunter title. Like, I mean, you could give me the most garbage Monster Hunter game except for that one on the PSP that was all nothing but Palicos. Like, that's the only one I never played. That is the only one.
Wow.
Well, Corey, what have you been playing with Power?
I've been playing Mario Golf before bed just to get some sort of gaming in. I've been playing, and also Monster Hunter Rise. I've been playing a little bit of Smash also. My nephews are kind of getting to that age where they want to play Smash, so they've been playing they've been coming over and playing a little bit. That's kind of it. Mario Golf is just kind of relaxing before bed. It's been kind of a stressful couple weeks, so it's been nice to just kind of wind down with some 9 holes or 18 or whatever. So it's really fun though. Like I get some of the criticisms of the game, but I'm gonna be honest with you, I really don't care. It's really fun.
It's a blast. I love it. By the way, just a quick shout out. I played with Auditor 415 and Stephanie from our Discord on Saturday night. We played a lot of Mario Golf, so that was fun as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
I wanted to get on and play. Kids.
I need to take that game out the package and put it in my Switch. I apologize. Goodness. Google it.
It's fun, man. It's just like relaxing, and it's a really good golf game, actually.
Yeah.
Well, for me, like Dan, playing Monster Hunter Stories 2 along with Corey and LeRon, but also playing Crosscode. I think I'm finally about to get into the second dungeon with it. Just once again doing those side games. Played a little bit more of Invento. It's a puzzle game where you're making sushi dishes and everything in bento boxes, and you gotta kind of figure it out and like mesh the puzzle picture. Really good. Just like Corey, I bought Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate Edition on Switch, and play Street Fighter Alpha 3. Man, I love that game, but I still love Third Strike better. But I was playing and I'm just like, I love this game. I want to go back to the Street Fighter series and kind of talk about it, and try to actually beat the first one because I never got to beat Street Fighter 1, but I beat it almost all of them besides 4 and 5 because I didn't play them. But that's pretty much what I've been playing with Power along with Bloodstain and everything. So that's going to be it for the show, everybody. We're going to quickly get into some plugs. LeRon, where can we find you?
You can find me on social media at Exodus803, EXODUS803. Also, just remember that's my Twitch channel where you can find me and Austin Campbell on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Crossroads PlayStation Podcast. Also, that is my YouTube channel, so you can catch all the recaps and some of my hits and misses when I'm streaming video games over there. And Exodus803 is also my gamer tag. So PlayStation Network, Xbox Live, Steam, all those places. You can find me just using those credentials.
Yes, and everybody also check out Exodus803 for our State of Play recap. We had a discussion.
Which I found out got a copyright claim.
It did?
I just found out. Like, yeah, I got a copyright claim and it actually showed me where it got the copyright claim in. Would you believe it was during the Demon Slayer stuff?
No way.
Oh wow!
Yeah, were you showing the video during your?
I I was showing recaps of the trailers.
Oh man.
Yeah. That's why we didn't, like, when we were doing our E3 stuff. That's why we didn't have the presentation going during our recaps, is because of,
well, that's what I get for trying to be fancy and put some production value into it. I got it next time.
You kill it with the production quality on.
I try my best. That's okay though. That's okay. You know what I'll do? I'll play it backwards next time. That's how you get around that stuff.
When you guys did that Uncharted episode, that was amazing. That was so cool. I loved that. You guys got to check out when LeRon does his live shows on Crossroads.
Yes. And along everybody also got the recap up there, written recap, so you guys can watch, check that on Boss Rush Games. But Dan, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at DCDM99, and you can find all my articles on www.bossrushgames.com.
Yes. Corey, where can we find you?
You can find me at IamCoreyHD on Twitter. You can find me hosting Boss Rush Podcasts and Tower Casuals also.
Yes, you guys can find David at David Laxby on Twitter, and also find him at Zelda Dungeon and at Boss Rush Network. He is our editor-in-chief for the writing community, so you can check that out there also. You guys can find me on Twitter at ThatRetroCode. You can check out Nintendo Pow Block, like I said, every Monday. Check out World 11 Podcast on Podbean.com and Optional Opinion on SoundCloud and other podcast apps. And if you guys want to find me on Switch, you can come to at that retro code on my Twitter page. My number is there. And yeah, join us on Discord, everybody. But that's going to be it for the show. Thank you, LeRon, for joining us on this episode. Everybody check out Crossroads at Exodus 803 on his YouTube page and on his Twitch page. They go at 8 p.m. on Tuesday nights. With that, everybody, have a great week, have a great weekend, and we'll see you next time on Nintendo Pow Block. Bye, everybody. Woo-hoo!
See ya.